Glasgow is a good place to be for finance as well. There's a lot of opportunities, and I feel like this is a better place because the number of competition that you might have here would be drastically less as opposed to something you might find in London.
Did the university that you studied at play a role in you getting the opportunity?
It doesn't matter which university you come from. What matters the most is what kind of a person you've become when you've come out from university. I have so many friends just now who are in Glasgow and they didn't go to Glasgow Uni and they work at Morgan Stanley and they went to University of Sheffield. So that's very economical. I think one of my friends who studied there, he spent about 15 lakhs for the whole course and yet he's working at Morgan Stanley.
Right. Building a career in finance is not just a dream. You have so many friends.
Exactly.
And from different universities and from different backgrounds who are actually doing it. Do you see any patterns emerging out of it? The friends you find who are doing well, are there any traits, any things which are sort of you feel are common?
If you are looking to study abroad, then watch this full video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated.
I have a few questions now in my head, right? We understand how and what got you into NatWest.
Right.
People think finance, they think London. You chose University of Glasgow.
Right.
Why did you do that? Do you believe in general still people should pick London?
Opinions can be different.
Yeah.
They're very subjective to people, right? I've been in Glasgow, there might be a certain level of bias there, but then at the same time, I feel like Glasgow had a better opportunity for me because I wanted to work in investments. So when people say finance, there's two sides to it. There's accounting and then there's finance where you make money, you make investments, right? You deal with assets, you deal with real estate, you deal with real cash. So that is what I wanted to get into, and the opportunity that I had back in King's for my masters, that was retail banking, and that was not something I was too keen on. I was more into the investment side of things, so it made more sense for me to come here. And at the same time, I was offered a scholarship here as well that helped me sustain myself. Now you know, so that's another point there.
If you had been offered a course in investment banking at King's, would you have picked King's?
See, honestly, it depends on your financial budget as well. If you have the money to pay for it, might as well. But then I do not come from a place where I could shell out 40-50 lakhs only for my tuition fees, right? Spend for accommodation, that'd be another 20-24 lakhs because that's London we're talking about. That would not be the right place for me. But at the same time, I feel like London is too overcrowded at this point, right? Given the number of students that are coming in, given the number of universities that it has to offer, Glasgow in general is a student city. Like if you were to look it up on Google as well, you'll come to find that Glasgow is one of the largest student cities in the UK because there's a number of universities around here as well. But then at the same time, they don't compare to the ones in London because London has a lot to offer. So there's a lot of people there, right? That drives competition. Those are the things that drive costs, living costs, rents, all these things, right? So
overall, you would still advise that, you know, Glasgow is of course more economical.
Absolutely. And
it's
the same quality of life.
Quality of life, of
exactly.
course,
it's the same quality of life.
There are enough finance opportunities.
Absolutely. So you'd be surprised to know we got very big JP Morgan office here, Morgan Stanley here, Santander here. We got NatWest offices here. We got Lloyd's as well. We got a huge Barclays campus here, and I think that is the largest campus in the UK.
And all of these companies just sharing that.
Exactly.
As well,
The Barclays campus out here, I think that is the largest that they have in Scotland and second to the one that they have in London. So you can imagine the scale of how these companies are operating in a city like Glasgow. Glasgow itself is not a very small city. Glasgow is a good place to be for finance as well. There's a lot of opportunities, and I feel like this is a better place because the number of competition that you might have here would be drastically less as opposed to something you might find in London. It might be highly competitive there, but then at the same time, it might not be as competitive as London here. So I feel like that is something you should consider as well when you're trying to decide on where you want to go, what kind of opportunities are there, and all the offices that I'm telling you about just now, the Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan, they all offer graduate programs. So that is the go-to route for any graduate.
But those you said are like really competitive.
Exactly, they're extremely competitive.
You're the same guy, right? Let's say you had the same course and you studied at a different university in Glasgow. Yes, University of Glasgow is the best one in Glasgow. So anyone would have been slightly lower in rank or maybe lower in reputation. Did the university that you studied at play a role in you getting the opportunity?
See, I think the name itself carries a lot of weight, right? So I feel like that adds a certain level of value, but at the same time, it is not, so it's not always, you know, a given that, okay, if you study at King's, you'll get a job. A lot of my friends who studied at LSE, London School of Economics, they don't have a job just now and they went back to India. So there are cases as such as well. So the thing in this case is like, it's not a complete given that if you study at a good university, you're going to land a job. I think it all comes from the person as well. It's about the personality that you're able to offer to the company. If you're able to get get involved in their organization.
So you are saying
learn about
basically
their
that
group.
the university matters,
Exactly.
but it is not the top priority thing to be worried about.
I mean, what I would say is that the university molds you as a person, as an individual that is going to fit into that system. If you're able to get molded right, then I think you would be able to fit into the system regardless of which university you come from. That's the whole point.
Because that's again a lot of times a debate. University of Glasgow is also decently expensive. They give scholarships, but so makes it slightly bit more economical.
Absolutely.
But there are other cheaper ones.
Right.
Right. Now the students try to kind of try and understand that part that, you know, what if I'm not going to a Russell Group university?
Right.
Will I not be able to get an opportunity? Or will going to a Russell Group university really give me, you know, far more opportunity than some other school?
The way people put it, I mean, Russell Group and everything, okay, honestly, these are just groups that are heavily funded for research purposes. Russell Group itself means all those universities which have very big backing for research fundings, right? Education per se doesn't really depend on the university you go to. I think it depends on you as a person as well.
How hungry you are to learn.
Exactly. It's about you being hungry, being able to network, because I have so many friends just now who are in Glasgow and they didn't go to Glasgow Uni and they work at Morgan Stanley and they went to University of Sheffield.
Yeah.
So that's very economical. I think one of my friends who studied there, he spent about 15 lakhs for the whole course and yet he's working at Morgan Stanley.
Right.
It doesn't matter which university you come from. What matters the most is what kind of a person you've become when you've come out from university.
So guys, let's take a small pause and let me tell you that I counsel hundreds of students looking to study abroad every month. And I am here to help you guys, not just with understanding your profile, which country or university is the best one for you, but help you through the admission process. And me and my team will get you your visa on time. And if you want a one-on-one counseling session with me, please go into the description. There is a link to my Calendly and you can book a one-on-one slot with me. And let's get back to our video now.
No, so why I'm saying is because, you know, a lot of people are going to idealize your position and while they're watching it. But I want to bring out some of that they would be having, what you guys are having right now while you're listening to Harsh, because university is not a reason why he got selected. So now, Harsh, tell me, what skills you believe you showcased that got you selected at NatWest? And I'm talking of hard skills, you know, I'm not, I want like an action plan. Okay, these 5 things, I will build these 5 skills. You know?
Absolutely. So, I mean, in finance itself, you're meant to have theoretical knowledge which comes with the university, right? We can come around this way. So that's the front of my accommodation. You can turn the camera around, you'll show them Havana.
Havana.
Yeah, I miss it. It was pretty good. Come around,
I'll show you good memories, I think.
Man, trust me, I miss those days.
How many times you have crawled from here to your
Every day. I mean, even now, like me and my friends, we just come around because the back street is really nice. I think you like it. It's very nice. And the sun always comes directly there and there's no blockage. So I feel like that would be a very good spot to, you know, sit and talk as well. And it's fairly quiet. Right. I mean, hard skills are such theoretical knowledge, of course, right? That is something you study at uni. But at the same time, you need to understand, like, whatever you're being taught in university, you need to start implementing those things. So my course itself, it offered access to Bloomberg. So that is the trading terminal that all financial people, all traders use, right? There's Bloomberg. There's some software, you know, not software, but then some coding platforms as well, like MATLAB. There's Stata as well. So Stata is for data analysis and all that stuff, right? So those are things you need to develop your skill set in because that is extremely important. Those things add a lot of value because when you're putting it down on your CV, okay, that I know that you come from finance, but then do you know how to operate these tools? Do you know how to use them? So that is something which is extremely important and all these people look for because they've got such systems in place and they would want you to come in and integrate.
So did you do any certifications also in these tools and softwares, or it was just that you had implemented and used them in your project?
It was part of my dissertation as well, right? So Stata and MATLAB was something that I had to use in my dissertation because that is a compulsion for you to do because it was part of my course, right? Those courses were a must for me to go with, right? But at the same time, while I was in India during COVID, I did a lot of courses from Coursera, which were about data analysis, risk analysis, and financial modeling, quantitative modeling, all these things. I feel like those things add a lot of value because once you're out in the UK, you know, that's when you realize everyone's got the same profile.
Yes.
Right? My class itself, it had 500 students. Everyone studied investment banking and finance. So you need to be sure that you're able to differentiate yourself from them. A lot of those students who come in, they won't be too keen on doing MATLAB. But if you're able to stick around with it, it might seem boring or mundane at times. But then if you're able to stick with it, you know, you're going to stand out. Exactly. All you have to do is stand out from the 500 class people, right? So So you need to understand that.
You mentioned one is, of course, your theoretical knowledge,
Right.
which is going to be taught.
Absolutely.
And the other is certain technical skills.
Absolutely.
Be it Bloomberg, how do you operate a
Right.
Bloomberg terminal, how to use MATLAB or
Right.
Python or Tata, and
Absolutely.
some of the programming tools and
Absolutely.
analytical tools. What else?
Other than that, you mean?
What else is the skill? Like, of course, you don't, I think,
Right.
consider it, but like communicating and communicating
absolutely.
with confidence
Absolutely.
is very critical, which I think comes more naturally to you now.
Exactly.
Was it like this before you came, or did it kind of built it, developed it after you got here?
So, I think I've always been an extrovert, right?
Yeah.
So I've never really had problem in trying to communicate with people, right? And I mean, touch wood, I feel like, okay, my English is fairly decent for people who've stuck around in the UK. So I think communication is very important, right? And the way you're able to express yourself, that is extremely important. Because as I mentioned, when these recruiters are looking out for people, they look for personality.
Yes.
If you've got that personality to fit into the company, and what kind of personalities do they look for? They look for people who are willing to take initiatives, who are willing to go the extra mile, people who are able to work in teams.
Yeah.
So all those things are extremely important, and I feel like all those factors are heavily worked upon when you're in uni, because you've got group assignments to work in, so that's team building for you. There's other societies that you can be part of, that's initiative for you, right? And then at the same time, I mean, there's way more opportunities at university to get exposed to such things which will add a lot of value to you as a person and make you, ready for the industry that you want to get into. So communication,
so it's not that,
of course.
because why I'm asking and bringing that about is also because success breeds success.
Absolutely.
Right? Why I'm not saying is because you are confident now. Were you same this confident 6 months ago when you were getting rejections every day?
Trust me,
and,
no.
you were working at that part-time store.
Right.
And you may have had that fear that, maybe this is what I'll end up doing for the next 2 years and then have to go back home. So I know you're confident today, but I think after you become successful, it's easy. How was it before?
How was it when I was in that phase, when those rejections keep coming through and all those things?
How did you keep up that confidence?
I mean, see, honestly, first off, I mean, I had to pay my bills, right?
Yeah.
So that was there. I mean, that was a motivation there. But then at the same time, so when I came here to the UK, so this was always a lifelong goal for me, right? To come abroad, like, study, settle, work here, right? So that was something that my family always wished for. Those were things that kept me motivated. And of course, my family, they were very supportive, right? I used to talk to them and, rib about the fact, there's nothing working out. What should I do? Should I come back? And they'd be like, no, what's the point of you coming back? I mean, you've spent so much money, you've spent so much time, might as well just put in a little more effort and wait for what comes to you, because what's meant to be is meant to be. There were times like when I was very upset, honestly. I mean, I was working part-time and I was extremely happy because at that point I was able to pay my own bills.
Yeah.
But that is just step one. So that is just the stepping stone towards your destination, right?
So you kept yourself motivated.
Exactly.
And you were just the same.
Absolutely.
Like you are today.
Absolutely.
And, I think that is again a very strong message for all of us here. Life is going to throw shit at you as international students, left, right, and center, and you're going to have a tough time. But nothing can actually prepare you for the reality because it hits harder than,
than it
you can
seems.
imagine. But you need to keep your chin up and, you need to keep pushing through, because the day you stop doing that, you've already lost. So,
Absolutely.
and it's getting harder actually, with the whole regulations getting changed, things are already getting harder. So you need to be prepared for that fight. And if you're not, then there's no point actually in coming to UK in the first place. So we want to know one more part about your journey, which is I think again very important. Is now finance as a career. When we look at data, we realize that, the opportunities in finance are the least, but they're also the highest paying.
Absolutely.
And hence, of course, it can't be both, right?
Right.
So what is the strategy that one should follow if they're looking to build a career in finance? What is that game plan? How should one plan? Because a lot of students may not have prior background in finance.
Right.
They may have done a BBA, or they may have even done some technical program, but they want to study finance and, get into the financial services industry. What would be your suggestion to them? What should they do while they're back in India so that they can prepare themselves for the time in UK?
Right. So, I mean, see, if you don't come from a financial background, I mean, of course, that does not mean you cannot get into the sector altogether. Because one of my colleagues, he studied biotech and he works with me in finance.
Yeah.
So he did his undergrad in biotech, but then he did his master's in finance, right? So, master's itself is a very advanced degree as opposed to something that you study in your undergrad. Right. I mean, if you want to get into it, I would always recommend that, you can always go back to YouTube, or there's other courses that are provided by Coursera or maybe other providers as well.
So just don't go it for the fact that salaries are higher.
Exactly.
A lot of people
you need to be keen on it.
You need to be
keen on it.
If you're especially changing domains,
Exactly.
go to Coursera, YouTube, educate yourself about it, try and practice it to some degree, and so that you understand that you're good at it and you're really interested in it, and you're not just coming and doing it for the money, because money will not come unless you get job, and job will not come unless you have the skill.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, I mean, that's again one message, I wanted to kind of drive through you, that don't chase money, chase excellence, and money will follow.
Money will follow.
And if you're not good at something, nobody's going to pay you to do that job. I think we are in this great day today that, we get to kind of bring out that reality for our students. Building a career in finance is not just a dream. You have so many friends.
Exactly.
And from different universities. And from different backgrounds. Who are actually doing it. Do you see any patterns emerging out of it? The friends you find who are doing well, are there any traits, any things which are sort of you feel are common?
So, I mean, one thing that I really relate to with all my other friends who are working in finance, right? It feels like we eat, we breathe, we live finance.
Yeah.
That's what we do, right? So, as you mentioned rightly, it's not for the money that we wanted to get into this.
Yeah.
This was the thrill of working in finance, right? When you're always on your toes, you never know what your day is going to look like. So, I mean, finance is not for everybody. You need to be prepared for it. If you are keen on it, you'll stick by.
Yeah.
But if you're not, you're going to drop out.
Yes.
Trust me. It is hard when it is hard.
Yeah.
It is good when it is good. So, it has its own ups and downs, right? So, I feel like we always have common topics to talk about whenever we meet as well. I mean, back when we were kids, we were just kids, right? Playing around and fooling around. But then now that we've come to this level wherein we're all working, there's always something new to talk about, right? Everyone works in a different part of finance.
Yeah.
So there's always something new to discuss. So I feel like these open conversations add a lot of knowledge to you, firstly, because you're getting to learn something new and about a field you are highly keen on. I feel like we're all very, we're all on the same tangent when we talk about finance. So there's a lot of common ground that we usually talk about. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that is the most common thing.
So, I mean, all of you guys, you feel that you are all very strongly passionate about the field of finance. And hence you are able to spend a lot of time learning about it, even if it is not related to your work. But then that gives you something to talk about when you meet other people in finance.
Exactly.
And hence I think, see guys, again, I think it boils down to the fact that if you are enjoying something and it's your calling, and you will, instead of scrolling on Instagram, you would actually spend time reading about it. Instead of, looking at Bollywood news, you're going to look at finance news and read about what's happening, in the financial world.
Right.
I think it is important for us to understand, what we are keen on, what we are willing to spend that time on. And we need to assess that before we come abroad.
Absolutely.
Because it's not something for you to experiment here. You need to know that for sure.
I mean, you can't do that because, see, the thing is, like, you're talking about so much money here,
Exactly.
right? Most of the people that you'll find at universities like Glasgow Uni, right? Or people who are in smaller parts of the UK as opposed to London. I mean, okay, millionaire students go there, but then not everyone comes from that background. So you need to be 100% sure what you want to get into. Because if you're just coming here for the sake of it, then honestly, you're just wasting your money. You need to be 100% sure on what you want to get into and if this is the right thing for you, because we're talking about a lot of money, and honestly, it's not just about the money, it's about time as well. It's your own time. You could be, working on something that actually interests you rather than trying to waste your time in something that does not at all.
That does not at all, and then that's not going to get you anywhere. But thank you so much, Harsh, for sharing those beautiful thoughts and coming out candidly about how you ended up being in a position you are at NatWest as a financial controller. There are a lot of people would want to aspire to be working in finance in UK, the financial hub of the world. It is definitely a pleasure to bring this story to all of you. And if you have learned from it, guys, so please subscribe to our channel, because we are going to be talking to so many more people. And I think you will find that very interesting and helping you in building your career in the UK.
So if you like this content, please subscribe to our channel, and I will see you all in the next video.
Let's go to your accommodation.
Let's go, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and we're going to see it. I'm going to keep asking you a few questions while we are here.
Feel free.
So a lot of people talk about resume. Do you believe in it that resume needs to be crafted in a certain way?